I think we're live. Looks like it. Hey guys, this is Shiloh Spoo. We are coming to you from Glassworld HQ, upstairs on our top floor here, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. This is a big day, one we've been waiting for a long time. And so deep breath, Shiloh. You can do this. Anyways, really glad to be with you guys. I'm just gonna hang tight for a minute and let as many of you join as possible. I know everybody's got a busy schedule and y'all out there hustling, making lots of money and, gaining new skills. So while everyone's joining, we'll give everybody a minute and say hello. If you joined us and you're from a different part of the country or the world, please let us know where you're from. I'd love to give you a quick shout out. Give one to Nathan, who was in here early. Nathan Van Hoos, like that. I love that last name. That's awesome. So yeah, thanks for joining. Pro Glass Windshield Repair. Awesome. Thanks for joining too. And I probably won't get to mention all of you as everything jumps on here. Jumbo Slice. Man, we got some solid names going today. I like it. Excited to be with you guys. Excited to talk to you about a brand new product. Would love for y'all to jump in and chat with each other for a few minutes here on the chat before we get started. And so today we are going to introduce a brand new product. You've probably already seen the email, maybe already seen the YouTube video. If you haven't, check them out. Not right now, of course, but later once you're done joining us here. But in this video, we're gonna do a deep dive into this brand new product, and we're going to talk about all kinds of the details and the why, and we're going to show you all the different features. I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can live as well, anything that comes up. Cool. Some of you already got one, sounds like. Let's see who else we got here. Blake. What's going on, Blake? Glad you could join us. And somebody from America and another one from Ohio. Awesome, guys. Well, we are really excited to be here with y'all today. If you're watching this later or you're watching this live, again, this is a really exciting day for me. I'm actually kind of nervous because we've spent a long time working on this new project, and we have a lot of them in the pipeline, and this is a really big one for us. So let's jump on into the discussion here. We're going to be introducing the latest innovation from Glasswell, which is we call it the ProCur X curing light. You can kind of see them here in the background. I'm going to show you all the details here in a minute. I'm going to break down 4 reasons why the ProCur light is different, how it's light years ahead, how you can benefit from it. I'm going to show you the features. I'm going to show you how to do some cool custom stuff with it. I'm going to show you how to use it. I'm going to show you kind of explain all the features so you know like kind of what it's doing and when. I just realized I don't have a charger here, but I wanted to show it to you charging too. And then also we're going to talk about what the cost is. We're going to talk about a really awesome trade-in benefit. We, our management team here at Glasswell, when we were first launching this light, we were like, what can we do to kind of help people that have old curing lights they've been using for a long time? So we came up with a really cool plan that we think will make it a lot easier for people to get started. And that gives you a lot of value, even for old tools that maybe you're not using that much. So we'll talk about that. And then right after this video, so like at 2 o'clock, for those of you who speak Spanish, we have a lot of customers and friends from around the world that speak Spanish. We're going to switch, and I'm going to do this whole thing over again in Spanish. So if you're joining us and you see that, feel free to jump on the other link. If you want to drop in questions here in Spanish, we'll try to get to them in the second live. Okay, that was a mouthful. All right. Let's jump on into it. So thank you again for everybody for joining us. Johnny, good to see you, man. It's been forever. I'm coming your way soon. Nathan, all of you guys, we appreciate you guys joining. So I mentioned this earlier in the video. We spent about 2 years developing something that we feel like is a real game changer when it comes to windshield repair, and something that is just really intuitive and really easy to use. As you guys know, if you're following Glassworld, you probably already know that we work really hard here with research and development. Currently, there are 14 products that are in development, right? 14. That's crazy, huh? So Glasswell, we just constantly have this pipeline of stuff we're working on to make the process easier and faster. This one started, whoa, that was scary. This thing's holding this thing up over here. I'm just going to pop it back down again. So this started about 2 years ago, and we really wanted to improve the curing process for everyone, make it easier, and then build on some of the stuff that we had done with the ProCur, which is one of our most popular products, which is the round curing line. So this product is really focused on making that as simple and as easy as possible. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to the ProCur X. So I'm going to bring it here close to the camera. So it looks a lot like this. Some of you guys might recognize the round form factor, which we've had in the past. Hi, Michelle. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. You'll notice that it's a little bit bigger than the previous ones, and I'll explain why here in a minute, but it still fits really nicely in your hand. So, you know, and it's really, really comfortable just to kind of reach out over the glass and get it on there. I want to explain to you why this matters to me just a little bit. You know, about 15, 20 years ago, I was a technician in the field doing glass repair myself for about 3 or 4 years. And, you know, just recently, kind of to link to experiences, I was on a training trip for about 4 days, working with about 75 technicians in really busy airport locations. And the thing that I remember from my time and the thing that I see with our customers is that y'all are hustling, you know? I mean, you all are working so hard. These guys I was working with at the airport location, man, they were replacing windshields and they were repairing multiple windshields at a time. And they're doing this and they're doing that and they're writing invoices and they're processing stuff and insurance paperwork and they're answering the phone. And for those of you who are out there making good money and have turned this into a career, whether you're working for someone or working for yourself, like that's daily life. And so the last thing we want is for you to have to be making complicated decisions based on unique scenarios with your repair tools. We want to make that as easy as we can for you. So that's the goal of the ProCur X, is to make it easy for you. And that's really where all that motivation comes from. We put a ton of attention into every little detail on this light. And I want to give a quick shout out to the approximately 10 field testers who have been working with these tools for over a year now in the field, kind of giving us feedback, telling us what they like, what they don't like. And we have taken the vast majority of that feedback and implemented it in here. The one thing you'll really notice that's different about Glasswell tools, we don't put a label on stuff that we buy from overseas or something and then just kind of put out there. We're really focused on building tools from the ground up and designing them and engineering them and testing them in the field and using real feedback from real technicians that do this every day. Because guess what? I don't at this point in my career. To make sure that the product we put out is good and really fits the needs of our customers. So every detail was really focused on. And so there are 4 kind of main features that I want to focus on: versatility, extra powerful curing, and an extra long lasting battery. I got an arm sticking in here to give me a charger. Yay. Okay, so those extra long battery and then an extra smart temperature sensing. Those are the 4 things we're going to break down. So let's jump into the features. I know I've talked a lot here, so I think we got a good crew in here. Let's jump into well, you can kind of see the X's over here. I'll crank one of these on here. You can kind of see it sitting in the kit back here behind us. So we'll boot this guy up. You see the lights come on like so. Boom, boom, boom. They kind of boot up. I'll do that one more time because I love this part. Well, here we go. So you click it on, and it goes 1, 2, 3. When it goes solid on the 3rd one, you know it's on. So that's the first thing. We wanted on this version of the ProCur, we wanted to make sure a couple things. One, that it was really easy to know when you needed to charge your battery, but also we wanted to do something cool. We wanted to make something that you guys could customize to make it your own, to match it to your branding. And in the years past, for some of you know, maybe a few years ago, we did a couple of custom carbon fiber housings and stuff for a few customers. But this time we were like, how could we design this in a way that any customer anywhere in the world could match this tool up to their branding in a way that just looked really cool, and that their customers or your customers would be super, super excited. I just got stuff falling all over the place. I'm just going to leave that kit like it is so that doesn't happen again. And so that's where these lights come in. So here's what's really cool about these lights. These lights indicate the battery level. So when they're this cool glass-well green like that, which, by the way, if you're a Tron or sci-fi fan and you're like me, how cool is that? Isn't that fun? Now, here's what's really cool. If you want to change that up, that main color, and let's say your main color for your business is bright pink, because I know all you guys out there have bright pink logos. All we do is hold this button down on the side for 5 seconds, and look at that. It changed. And if once it changes, then I can change it again. That's like a blue. It's hard to tell on the camera. There's a purple, and there's a bright green. So kind of a cool, bright, glowing green. And then if we hit it again, it goes back. And so we can just kind of cycle through those until we find the one we want. When you find the one you want, just let it sit, and you'll watch in a second. It's going to go, see it pulse? So when it pulses, that just means that it's locking in that color, and then it stops like that. Now it's locked in. So now if I turn it off and turn it on, it will stay in that main color. So that's how you can customize this light to match with your branding. So like when you're doing cool marketing images, or, or even just your customers hanging over your shoulder, watching what you're doing, that your branding and your tools really line up and really make you look like the professional that we know that you are. So that's a really cool one that I want to show you. So just simply hold that button down once you get your new light, and it will change the colors, the main color. Now, as the battery decreases in power, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but those colors will change to an orange and then a red. So regardless of which main color you choose, it'll always go orange and then red as the battery drains. So it's really easy to change it. So we got some pink fans out there, some purple fans, some bright green fans, some blues. There's a lot of blue people with blue logos out there. So you can just kind of line it all up. I even had one of the field testers say that he changes the color sometimes on bright days because he can see the colors better in certain lighting conditions. So heck, if you just want to have some fun with it and change up your gear once a week or whatever, that's another cool option. Now, that's just sort of the fun stuff. Now let's jump into a little bit of the more practical stuff. With this version, you see on the inside here how we have this chrome finish. We'll talk about that in a second. But we've also used much higher power UV LEDs, and we've cranked about a lot more power through them. And we've positioned them in a way that we can get about a 6-inch curing area. So about from where my finger to my finger. So what that means for you is that if you have this ProCur X curing light, you can do long cracks. You don't even need a secondary light to do, normal long cracks that are 6 inches or less, which is, most auto glass technicians that do long cracks don't do things that are more than 2 or 3 inches. So this light's going to be really set up for that as well. It also just does an amazing job of curing a wider area. I don't know if I can show you this live. Let me try this. I did not plan to do this, but let's see what happens. I'm going to kick on the curing. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not, because it's so, there we go. Look how wide that curing area is. It's huge. So we're curing way beyond the parameters of the housing itself. So not only can you do long cracks, but you can get a huge curing area just to help make sure you have really strong repairs. Even just curing the whole surrounding area really makes for really, really strong repairs. So the other thing you'll notice here is that this little guy spins. The lights spin while it's curing, so the curing lights are still on. Don't look in the lights for too long. You definitely don't want to do that. But these little UI lights on the outside spin so that you just know that it's curing, but just by pressing that button. So we got that big 6-inch curing area. I'm going to turn this off for a second. I'm going to go show you another really cool feature about its versatility. So if you've used some of the previous ProCurs, the previous round lights from Glasswell, you might remember that they fit a little wonky when you do a corner edge repair. So like this particular situation, we have an injector right here. We can set up like we're doing a corner edge repair. And we've designed this thing with a wide feet like so, just for that purpose. So it'll sit right over those suction cups. So if you check this out, it goes right over the top and fits perfectly there. So it doesn't fit crooked or at all. And that allows you to kind of use it in any position. Now, the other thing I wanted to highlight here is when you're using the zoom, just in a normal position, like you would in the middle of the windshield or anywhere else, the ProCur X goes right over the top like that. So it's really easy to get on and off. Fits perfectly. It works with all the older Glasswell injectors. So if you got an EcoVac, a ProVac 2000, a G3, I don't, a standard, if you're still using one, it'll work with all of those. It'll fit right over the top, just like so. And unlike some of the previous ProCurs, you can put it in any position, upside down, above, because it's completely flat on the inside. So that was another change. We moved the battery to the top, so it's got a much bigger battery, but it's up here, which allows it to be super versatile. So you can kind of turn it in any direction that you want on the injector. I mean, we're nerding out here on curing lights, right? Questions, guys, throw them out there. I want to hear what you have questions so far. I think we covered most of the topic on versatility. So let's talk about the power of the curing. You kind of already saw that on that white sheet of paper. I'll show you that again. But so when we turn it on, we've got 66% more curing power than we've ever had in a curing light from Glasswell. So, so you know, if you crank it on, look how bright that is. You may not see that in the direct sunlight because it cancels out some of the UV light, but this thing is crazy, crazy bright. And that brightness is precision tuned to cure to any resin in the world in less than 60 seconds. Now that's saying something because there are a lot of different resins out there. And we hope that you're using Glasswell resin because it is the best by far. But even if you're not, there are some resins out there that cure really slowly, and there's some that cure really quickly. And so we did a lot of testing with this light because we wanted to make sure that we had a light that in less than a minute, we could cure any resin in the world. So regardless of what you're using, we can have a high level of confidence that you're getting a full cure in less than that 1 minute. Now, in addition to that, part of what makes it so crazy bright is this chrome finish on the inside. I mean, it's kind of blinding even here in the camera. But you can see that chrome finish. So it's actually like a real chrome finish like you would see on a car that we've put on there just to kind of make it reflect even more. And that boost and the testing we did, just switching to that chrome finish gave us an extra 20 to 30% in curing time too. So super fast, super strong. And here's a kind of an interesting topic. If you measure the nanometer power of curing with this light as compared to the old school like fluorescent bulbs that maybe were used 10, 15 years ago, we're talking about 10x the curing power, 10 times. It's not even close. It's not even close. And that just gives you stronger, quicker repairs, better quality repairs, because we're also frequency tuned exactly to the nanometer range that we need to cure resin properly. Okay. So I mentioned this. Just a heads up. So we'll show you this real quick here. See the lights? They spin like so while you're curing. So go blah, 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 blah. And the purpose of that is just a visual cue. Again, we know you're busy, right? You're hustling. You're doing all kinds of things all day long. So we want to make sure that it makes it really, really easy for you to know that it's curing and when it's done. So when it's done, these lights will go back to solid and it will chime. So if you look over at your light and it's working and you see those lights spinning, you know it's still curing. And if you look over at your light and you see the light solid, you know it's done. So that makes it really easy. And again, those colors will change based on the battery level. Even while it's curing, it will be either orange or red if it's got a low battery. So that makes it a little easier for you to kind of know what's going on. So we'll just kind of let that operate in the background here kind of while we keep talking. So those UI lights just rotate until, there we go. See, bingo. You guys hear the chime? And then the lights go solid. So at that point, you know the curing is done. If one thing that's one of you guys asked was a really great question, which is where does it fit in my kit? So it might, because it is bigger, you might think, oh, it doesn't fit. If you have a Glasswell kit with a custom foam, this one right here is set up already like so, just put it upside down. Drop it in upside down and it will fit just fine in your Glasswell kit in the same spot of the previous ProCurs. Okay. So let me think here. I'm going to go on to the temperature sensing. So this is a really interesting one. One of the things that a lot of technicians don't realize, because so many of us have used curing lights to just stay on, right? I mean, that's what I was raised on, a curing light that you just put on there, stays on, you plug it in. Sometimes you leave it for 5 minutes. Sometimes you leave it for 10 minutes. Sometimes you leave it for a minute. So how can we wanted to figure out how can we make that easier for people while not, while not killing the battery on the device. And so we did a couple of really cool things to help with that. And one of the things that we did was that you'll see it here in a second that these guys will go into a sleep mode to help conserve battery. But we also have this thing called they have an infrared thermometer. I'll go really close here. You guys can see, I'm trying to line this up. You guys see that little sensor right there? That little sensor is an infrared sensor. So what we're doing with this light is that the minute you put it over the glass, boom, that sensor is reading the real-time temperature of the glass surface. And then it auto adjusts the curing time based on what it reads. Here's why that matters. If you're doing repairs all day long, like let's say here in Bend, Oregon, right? We have a cold climate in the morning, a warm climate in the afternoon. And so like, as an example, you know, a windshield could be really cold in the morning, but if even on a cold day, sometimes if a windshield's sitting out in the sun, like the windshield could be 110 degrees, the air temperature could be like 45. So how do we gauge the right temperature? So we did a lot of testing on that, and we found that the resin curing times changed more based on the glass temperature than the air temperature, because the minute the resin starts getting injected, its viscosity changes based on the temperature of the glass, and that's usually what dictates the curing time. So by adding that infrared sensor, it's easy. All we do is we measure the temperature, we know what the parameters are, and that sensor automatically tells the device to adjust the curing time accordingly. I'm going to just check on the, yeah. So we're gonna chat a little bit more about all you guys' questions. Thank you so much for jumping in and asking a lot of questions. I appreciate that. So the temperature sensor, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about it. Just press the button. Just press the button and it will read that temperature automatically. And if it senses it's outside of the normal ranges, it will automatically add more. So you get extra curing time. Now, if you're in a situation where you're like, I just want a double cure, or I want extra curing time on every repair. First off, with this light, you have so much power, you probably don't need it, but you can always just double click on the side and it will give you that extra curing time like just manually. So you can always kind of override that just with that quick double click. So that makes it super, super easy for you. Okay, so yeah, I think that covers the temperature sensing. So let's talk about the battery life. I know that's important to you. You're all busy. You got multiple things going at once. You don't want to have to charge your stuff every night. You don't want to have to charge it every couple of days. You want to be able to charge it at most maybe once a week. And so we worked really hard on getting a bigger battery capacity in this light so that we could extend the time between charges. And also we have an on-off switch here too. So that on-off switch allows you to, make sure you're not losing battery while the device is just sitting in your kit, like if you're on vacation or something. So there's a much bigger battery in this light. You'll always know when it's time to charge, because when it gets down to about 30%, it's going to turn orange. The lights are going to turn orange. So that's your cue. You can still keep rolling when you turn orange, or you can plug it in. When you get down to about 20%, it's going to go red. And then when you get down to about 10%, it's just going to stop working. It's just going to stop. Now the UV power is going to stay the solid through all those color changes on the outside. So you got plenty of reminders, kind of like when you're running on empty in your car, right? It's like you get down to like a quarter of a tank and you get a reminder, and then you get down to like 50 miles, you might get another reminder. And yes, it is USB-C rechargeable. So those colors change to give you that cue, but you've got a ton of battery life, and it's just really easy to work with. Now, the other thing that we worked really hard on this is we wanted to make sure, even in the worst case scenario, that you forget to charge it, or you run it all the way down to red and it shuts off. You can always just put it on the charger, and you can just put it on the charger and cure, even if it's completely dead. I'm going to show you real quick too what it looks like while it's charging. I don't know if y'all can see this. Probably not, because it's kind of stuck in a corner. I'll grab the computer for a second. Oh, so we got a charging cable down here. So let's see here. All right. Oh, maybe my wall outlet's dead. Yeah, my wall outlet must be dead there. So anyways, we'll show you that in a future video, how to charge it. It's a little awkward there trying to crouch down that low. So that's how you charge. You just plug it in, and the lights will pulse. Is what I was going to try to show you. Is it'll pulse like so as you're charging, so that it's charging, and then once it's fully charged, it just goes solid. All right, so now let's go into the cost and the rebate side of things. And Hector asked a really great question. How many repairs can you do on a full charge? Approximately 75 is the rough answer. It just kind of depends on how long between charges. If you were to just do them back to back to back, it's about 75. Okay, so cost and rebate. So one of the really cool things with the ProCur X is that we've been actually able to get the cost down a little bit. So the retail cost of the ProCur X is actually only $379.95. So this is the green one here. You guys can all see that. So I got a green one set up. I think we got this is a pink one. So we got all those going for you guys. So $379.95. And what's really cool is that we set this up so that, if you're a certified technician, of course, you can get your certified price off of that $379.95. Or there's another option. We wanted to make it really easy for you to swap out like old lights. So if you have an old light that's just not working, and really like any curing light, if you have a ProCur Smart, or you have an old ProCur, or you have something from some other company, we're going to give you an option to basically send those into us and save some money on the curing light. So it's really, really simple. What you do is just go to glasswell.com. You order your ProCur X. You choose whether you want to select a trade-in or not. It's between $50 and $100 that will give you towards the light. And if you choose that option, then when we ship you your lights, we'll send you a return label. And that return label will then, when your old lights come back to us, we'll refund that amount to your card. So that way you can save between $50 and $100 on your ProCur X just by sending us one of your old lights back. If you're international, contact us. Most likely with international customers, you'd be responsible for shipping it back to us, but you could still qualify for that difference, or for that refund if you were to purchase it at glasswell.com directly. So that's a really cool, and really our goal there is we wanted to make it as easy for you guys as possible to swap out an old light, right? If you have an old light that's just kind of on its last leg, like I said, I was doing some training here a couple of weeks ago, and I saw a lot of old curing lights that were barely working. That really slows you down. And if you can get a light that's really functioning properly, it really makes your day a lot better, makes your repairs higher quality. And so we did what we could to try to make that accessible for everyone to be able to swap out their old curing light. So, and when I say any curing light, I mean any curing light. You got an old curing light that's sitting around that has lost all of its UV power. We really just widen that because we want to make it as easy as possible for you guys. And if you have a ProCur Smart, the previous generation, will give you $100 rebate once you send us back your old light. So that's a great program that we're running on the ProCur X for the foreseeable future. We hope you guys can take advantage of that. I'm going to cruise through here and see. Yeah, and that's a great question. Thank you, Johnny, for asking that question. Yes, it's 1-to-1, right? So if you have, let's say you have 10 old curing lights, you can't change in 10 lights for one ProCur X, but you can change 1-to-1. So if you have 5 old curing lights, you want to get 5 new lights, you can do that credit per light. Somebody asked about the warranty on the light. You guys can see that just went into sleep mode. So, and I forgot to mention that too. So if those UI lights on the outside will go after about 2 or 3 minutes of being turned on, they'll just shut off. And that just is to conserve battery. So like between repairs, if you're busy doing something and you come up and your light looks like it's shut off, it's not actually shut off. It's just in sleep mode. It's just to kind of help preserve the battery. And all you got to do to turn it back on is just hit those buttons, and then that button, the UV button, and it ramps right back up. So I think we covered almost everything. I'm going to cruise through the questions here real quick. Again, if you're here with us and you have questions in Spanish, we're going to start another live here shortly in Spanish where we'll answer all your questions. And we look forward to, I know our marketing team, Meadow and Aubrey and Dan and the whole crew, they're all in the background, happy to help answer questions for you guys, and our whole sales team as well. Look forward to hearing what other questions you guys have, whatever thoughts you have, and hearing your feedback. And again, a big shout out to our field testers. You guys know who you are. Thank you for all of your support and the testing that you did in the field. It meant a lot to us. And we're really excited to bring the ProCur X to you guys, to work with all of your old Glasswell tools. And if you're not using Glasswell tools, we're really excited to maybe get the chance to earn your business by showing you some of the cool stuff that we do. And this is just who we are. We focus on just constant innovation. If you guys have tuned into Facebook or our YouTube or social media, you'll see that We're constantly improving. There's a ton of stuff in the pipeline coming. We got a great crew of people here that are super stoked to help you out. So reach out to us. Let us know how we can help. I think that's all I got. Thank you so much for your patience with me with dropping stuff and stuff falling all over the place. But it was, it's live, uncut, it's real. So we appreciate you guys joining us and look forward to seeing you guys soon at some trade shows all around the world. All right, signing off.